Hello, welcome back. It's brew day, but before I talk about that, just to let you know, I'm trying something a bit different. I've got a microphone here, which I hope will improve audio. And I've also been noticing my camera keeps going out of focus, and I think it may be to do with lighting. It can't find what it's meant to be focusing on because of the bad lighting. I've only got one little window here. So what I'm also using today is a sort of like bright LED sort of spotlight that's on a tripod, and hopefully that'll improve the lighting and also improve the focus. We'll have to wait and see, but hopefully the audio's improved. It should be better. Okay, so today is brew day. What I'm brewing today is an extract beer, so I'm going to be boiling on the stock pot. And the beer I've chosen is what's called West Coast Saison. So it's a hybrid between a Belgium farmhouse Saison beer and a West Coast American pale ale. So it sounds interesting. I got this from Brew UK and it's called Crafty Brews West Coast Saison. It's a recipe pack, which means that you get all of the raw ingredients, and what you have to do is steep and boil to make the actual beer. I like these recipe packs, and I think they're really good if you're just starting out with extract brewing, because everything's been weighed for you. Everything comes individually packaged, so you can't mistake what's what, and all you have to do is put the things together. And that's good when you're first starting out, because you may not have bulk supplies of hops or a bulk supply of malt extract that you can just turn to and build a beer out of those. When you're first starting out with extract, you may have nothing. So having a recipe pack where everything comes for you, already weighed out, already bagged and separated, it makes it a lot easier. Basically, you just follow the instructions and you just make additions, the hop additions, when it tells you. So what it actually comes with is 2.5 kilograms of light dry malt and 3 packs of hops, and they're actually labelled 1, 2 and 3. So all you have to do is open up the bags, open up these packets when the recipe tells you to, and just add them to the wort, to what the malt that you're boiling in the stock pot. And pretty much that's it. Oh, it also comes with, of course, I can't find it now, a grain bag and a bag of grains. These are the specialty grains that I'm going to be steeping. It's already been mixed for me. It's already been weighed for me. I just open the bag, the little plastic bag, pour them into the grain bag that they also give you, and just steep them. And I'll be steeping them in my little wine warmer urn here, which works absolutely fantastically. I've already got it switched on, and the water's already heating up to about 65 to 70 degrees, which is what the instructions tell me to. And then I'll just pour these grains into this bag, put them in the urn. At the bottom of the urn, I've put a little trestle, so it stops the bag from sinking and going down onto the hot plate. That means it's not going to scorch, or you risk scorching the grains and producing like a bittery, burnt taste in the beer. So once this has come up to temperature, I will, as I say, I'll put the grains into the urn, and then half an hour later, I'm going to come back and we're going to transfer this into the stock pot, bring it up to the boil, and then start adding the hops. And it's as simple as that. Let's get started. Right, Well, that didn't take long. It only took about 15 minutes to heat up the 5 litres of water that's in here to 65 degrees, so it's pretty efficient. I'm now going to add the specialty grains, and as I say, I don't know what they are exactly. It doesn't really say on the instructions. Let me just check. No, it just says specialty grains. So these now have to go into this grain sock, and I'm thinking, looking at the bag, you would naturally want to open it here, but I think it's going to be better if I open it at the narrow end, and it'll be easier just to put the hop sock on top. So nothing special, just a knife. Oops, it's not as sharp as I thought it was. There we go, just to allow the grains to go in the sock. Put the bag on, turn it upside down, and there you go. Just get them all out. Now when you tie these, it's best to tie it near the top, and this gives the grains room to expand when they're inside the water. So there you go, and I'll just put them inside, give them a bit of a bounce, get some of those flavours and colour out, and I'll just leave that for half an hour when I can get the lid back on. There we go, it's okay. And that's going to keep it now at 65 degrees for the whole half hour. I've put a trestle at the bottom, like I said, and this will stop those grains from touching the hot plate and potentially burning and charring, which is a flavour I don't really want in the beer. So I'll come back in half an hour. Well, the half hour is over. Maintained the 65 degrees, so that's good. Got a lot of the colour and flavour out of those specialty grains. I'm now just letting it drain into the urn so I can get all that liquid, all that goodness. That's about finished now. I put the lid on top just to add a bit of weight and press down a little bit. So now I'm going to pour this into the stock pot. Now, according to the instructions, you boil 6 litres of water. This is 5 litres. So I've boiled the kettle and I've poured 1 litre in here already, and it just needs topping up now with this 5 litres. And then what I'll do is turn on the hot plate and bring it up to a boil. When it's close to a boil, I'm going to add 1 kilogram of dry malt extract. So let's pour this in and let's get this thing started boiling. There we go. Take out the trestle. Pour the rest in. Turn on the hot plate. And now it's just a waiting game. Should take about 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'll pour in the dry malt extract. This maybe is not going to be too clear a shot, but hopefully you get the idea. You literally just pour in and stir. The reason you stir is because the dry malt extract can clump up. It does have a tendency of clumping up, but if you keep stirring, it'll be fine. There we go, that's it all in. Okay, well, one thing you have to be aware of is boiling malt is like boiling milk, and if you're not careful, you're going to get a huge boil over. As we're only boiling 6 litres, it's useful that I've got a 20 litre pot, because it's unlikely it's going to reach the top of here. But still, you never know, so you've got to keep your eye on things. Just make sure it doesn't boil over. Otherwise, you're going to have a huge mess on your hands, trust me. So it's coming up nearly to the boil. We're ready for the first hop addition. So we take the packet marked number 1 and we open it and just pour them in. I'm not going to bother using a hop sock for this. I'm going to strain the hops out when I pour it into the fermenter. Okay, we're up to a boil. So I have here the hop sachet number 1. Smells beautiful. They're actually whole leaf hops as well, not pellets. And what's in this packet is 9 grams of Amarillo and 5 grams of Cascade. So real West Coast hops there. Just to let you know as well, it does mention the steeping grains. It was 180 grams of Cara Munich. So that was what we steeped in the urn and what we just poured into the stock pot. So all you've got to literally do is just break them up as best you can and pour them in. There we go. And they will stay in there now for 1 hour. But in half an hour, I'm going to add another addition. As we have to wait half an hour, now's a good time to do your cleaning, because once this is finished, we're going to transfer it into a fermenter. And that means it has to be clean and sanitized. So now's a good time to do it. The sanitizer I use is called Saison, and I make up 5 litres at a time. The great thing about Saison is that it's a no rinse, it's food grade sanitizer. Also, it's reusable, so after you've finished cleaning your fermenter, you can just pour it back into here and use it several times. The best way I find to clean a fermenter is just to pour about 2 litres into the bucket, put the lid on, put your thumb over the airlock hole and just give it a shake. Just like that, until it touches all sides, and then I usually let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then you've got a really nice clean sanitized fermenting bucket. Another thing I like to use when I'm brewing, in fact I use it on every brew, is a window box. You might be thinking, what do you want to use a window box for? This is a box that gardeners use to grow herbs and flowers and put it outside the window to make it look nice. But it's ideal because it's long, it's thin. I can fill this or half fill it with the sanitizer, and it's perfect for things like long handle spoons. You just drop them in and you don't have to worry about using a spritzer to, you know, when you pick up the spoon and oh, spritz, spritz, spritz. It's done, it's all sanitized. You just take it out, give it a shake, start using it. And I will put all my tools in here. For this type of brewing, I just need the long handle spoon. But if it was a kit brew, I would be using, well, a tin opener. So the tin opener goes in here. The airlock goes in here. Everything, it will just sit in here and it's already sanitized for when I need it. So these little window boxes are ideal. Okay, the half hour is over, so I'm going to add the second hop addition in the packet marked number 2. This is 5 grams of Amarillo and 5 grams of Cascade. They'll just go in. And then in 15 minutes, I won't film this because it's just the same really, I'm adding another sachet, the hop packet number 3. And again, this is 5 grams Amarillo, 5 grams Cascade. At that time, which will be 45 minutes into the boil, I will also be adding the 1.5 kilograms of dry malt and let that boil for 15 minutes. Once those 15 minutes are over, that's it. The brew day is basically finished. So I'll get back to you in about half an hour after I've made all these additions. Got to get them all in. Okay, I've turned the hot plate off. Brew day is over. What I'm going to do now is transfer the wort into the fermenting bucket that's been sanitised. I've also got sanitised straining cloth in here which will catch all of the hop matter and any grain matter that might have gone in as well from the specialty grains. And then basically I'm just going to top this up to 19 litres. There's a lot of foam inside the fermenter, but that's from the sanitizer. And I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that the foam from Starsan is also a yeast nutrient, so you can just leave it in. And now top up till 19 litres. So that's it. Brew day is finished. The beer's in the fermenter, still a little warm. I want this to come down to about 18 or 20 degrees, which will be fermentation temperature. The yeast I'm going to be using is Belgium Saison, and it's this that's going to turn this beer into a Saison. If I was just to use a normal ale yeast, I would just get a normal American pale ale. But it's the Saison that's going to give it, or the Saison yeast that's going to give it that Saison flavour, that rustic, rough sort of flavour. It all comes from the yeast. So I'm going to rehydrate this to give it every single chance, every best chance it can get when it goes into the wort, start fermentation. And then I'll just pitch the yeast when it comes down to 18 or 20 degrees. So that's it. Brew day is finished. This will sit fermenting for 2 weeks. Now in the instructions it says after that put it into a fridge for 2 weeks at about 2 degrees C, but I don't have a fridge. So I'm going to move straight on to bottling, and it'll sit in the bottles for 2 weeks at room temperature. And then I'll bring out here where it's about 12 or 15 degrees, and I'll let it sit here for 2 weeks just to condition. Although I'll probably be having a sneak taste test after about 4 weeks. I'll put a couple of bottles in the fridge and see what it tastes like, and of course I'll taste one on camera as well and share my thoughts with you. So thanks for watching. I've enjoyed brewing this. Hope you've enjoyed watching me, and if you don't brew, give it a go. It's not difficult. Most of it's just sat around waiting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.